All right. Welcome, everyone, to Pod4Good's birthday/anniversary live stream. I am, as always, your chief philanthropod, Jesse Ulrich.
And I am your Vice Admiral Philanthropod, Chris Miller. Except for that one time when I was demoted for something. I don't remember what I did.
You missed a recording date, I believe.
That doesn't sound like me.
It sounds more like me, actually, because that did happen. But so if for some reason this is the first Pod4Good you are watching/listening to, Pod4Good is a podcast that explores the change agents that are trying to make Tulsa a more inclusive and vibrant place.
I thought it was vibrant and inclusive.
I like to mix it up, Chris.
Okay.
We're doing this live. There are no rules. So we are going to bring on our very first guest. Almost every guest tonight will have already been on the podcast except for a couple. But we're going to bring on, right now, the highest downloaded episode in the past 3 months, Tommy Yap from the Tulsa Voter Van. Tommy.
Hello.
Hello, Tommy.
How
Highest
are you?
download. You didn't tell me that.
I just looked it up. So you're actually tied with our city councilor by what, like 93 to 92-ish. But
Wow, that's an honor.
well, I want to tell our listeners, our viewers, about the honor that Chris and I feel after what happened after your last episode. Can you tell us what happened in the weeks after your episode?
So during the episode, I mentioned that we needed to raise money for a wheelchair accessible van so that people who are mobility impaired could still get rides to the polls. And after this episode, we hit our goal. We have it rented and everything.
That is great. That is great. I mean, Chris and I have been working on this podcast for a year and
A little over a year.
Thank you, Chris. And we don't actually get a lot of feedback about whether this is doing any good whatsoever. And so that was definitely something we needed. And I'm happy for you. I'm also happy for us. So, but I want people to know about what you are doing between now and Election Day. Can you run down like the series of events you have?
Oh boy. So currently I am working on my computer like 8 hours a day trying to get everything in order. That's on my own end. But when it comes to what we're doing as an organization, we're going to be doing free rides to the polls for early voting and on Election Day. And then on the Saturday of early voting, we're hosting an event actually to just, get costumed, have a chance to show off your Halloween costume. And we're going to walk down to Driller Stadium to go early vote together.
That is great. I'm kind of sad that I had to send in my absentee ballot because I kind of want to go vote early at the baseball stadium, but I can't do that now. Or can I?
Well, you can still come and join us for our costume stroll.
That's true.
Remember, you know what they say, Jesse? Vote early and vote often.
We live in the dark reality.
So you've got your van. How else can people help? What else do you need between now and the Election Day?
So right now, like I said, we've successfully got the van. It's rented. It's everything. We'll be wheelchair accessible on Election Day. We've already had a couple people sign up for it, which is phenomenal, amazing. That was an amazing experience in and of itself. Between now and then, we're raising money for the cleaning supplies. So we have COVID measures, obviously. We're in the time of COVID. And we have just a bunch of cleaning supplies we need. So we probably use antibacterial stuff on every surface in a car between each rider. So that's a lot of Clorox wipes. That's a lot of Lysol spray. That's a lot of all that stuff, and we need money for it because, unfortunately, that's expensive.
Mm-hmm. So if people want to ride, how do they connect? How do they get in contact with you?
So they can go to our website, tulsavotervan.com, and there'll be a little tab that says rides. They can click on that. They can sign up for early voting or Election Day. It's available in Spanish and English, or they can call our hotline, which is 918-200-9153, which is also available in English and Spanish. Actually, almost all of our resources are available in both languages. That's another thing we've been able to successfully do with some of the funds that were brought in through fundraising, like after the episode with you all.
I think by the end of you talking, we're both going to have sore shoulders from patting ourselves on the back for doing.
You should. You definitely should.
Chris, we should.
I had been really working to get funds raised, and then I did Joel's episode, and we hit our mark.
That is awesome. I joke, but it is something that we are excited. The whole point of this was to give people like you a platform, people who are doing amazing things that most people in Tulsa don't know about. So it's always really exciting when, it works the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, honestly, I was both like happy and surprised. So it worked the way it was supposed to. How are you doing on the fundraising for the cleaning materials? Like, how much more do you need?
So our current goal is 250 with some creative buying and returning of materials. That's come down to about 200. So far, it's been out of our pocket. We have some leftover money from when we raised for the van. So I'd say we're still raising for that 200 goal since we have also then expanded with Spanish language services, which took up some of that money from the van fundraising. But yeah, 200 is our current goal for Lysol and Clorox wipes.
Well, all of our viewers out there, let's see how much of that we can get by the end of our stream today at 8:30. Even if we don't hit all 200, let's see what we can get. We're greedy. We want to keep having people help.
Like, everyone just run to Costco tomorrow and get that 12-pack of Clorox wipes that they only have 2 of since the pandemic started. Give them all to you.
I mean, at this point, if someone has a Costco membership and they have them in stock, I'll happily go with them to pick it up.
Yeah, I know you don't normally give rides to things that aren't voting, but if someone was like, hey, I want to buy you some Clorox wipes at Costco, would you drive them?
Oh my God, get in my car right now.
Okay, good to know.
Get in my car. We'll drive there. Yes.
One important question that we haven't asked yet, and that is, what are you going to dress as for Halloween for early voting?
So do you all remember the game show Supermarket Sweep?
Yes.
Yes. I'm going as one of the contestants, and my husband is going to be one of the bonuses in the shopping cart.
That is awesome.
We're doing it was a suggestion by Counselor McKee. Because we're partnering with her for the Tick or Treat. And she said, what if we did 6 degrees of spookeration, where you show off your best social distancing costume. So combined, we're going to be 6 feet long.
That is both impressive and hilarious. So,
that is awesome.
Well, Tommy, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that something that Chris and I, 2 knuckleheads, did helped you in some way, and I'm glad that it was the podcast that did it. And
Pod for actually something good.
Yeah, pod for actual good. So
I'm just happy that it wasn't another pod for sad.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Listen,
that's
pod for sad's coming in 15 minutes. But for now, we can enjoy that good people did good things, and we'll continue to do good things. So
that's right.
Yes. And thank you everyone who listened and donated. I should have said that from the beginning, but thank you all so much.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess think that people actually donated as well as thanking us.
We did all the hard work, Chris. Well, I did all the hard work, really. So thank you so much, Tommy. Yep.
Well,
I cut him off before he said
that was
goodbye.
a nice abrupt cut.
Sorry, Tommy. All right.
Enough of you, Tommy.
Yeah. So next, we have the incredible special honor of bringing on both, I would say, the fairy godmother of this podcast and of projects all over Tulsa. But more importantly, that person's incredible, very outgoing, and soon-to-be Empress of the World daughter. I now bring in Marcia Bruno Todd and her daughter, Amelia.
Only Empress of the... I mean, you mean Empress of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah, Galaxy, yeah. So...
I don't know why you got to think so small.
I know. Well, that's why I'm not Empress of the Galaxy. So. But back to our guest now, Chris. So, for anyone who's ever been to a Leadership Tulsa program, you have probably run into a 11-year-old dynamo named Amelia and wondered, what is she doing here, for one? And 2, why is she so good at talking to adults? So I made a promise a long time ago to have her on the podcast. So to make it doubly embarrassing, I'm doing it on video. So, so Amelia, first question for you. We as adults are all curious. What is school like right now?
Okay, so school is very, as you know, for me, it's virtual. I wake up in the morning, depending on what time my classes are, because they have different starting times each day. I get to wake up. I get to go to the bathroom whenever I want, all day. And there we get to learn, but at the same time relax. Like, I can be in my pajamas. I don't have to be embarrassed. I don't know if I mentioned that I can be on mute and they won't hear me doing whatever I'm doing. You won't be in trouble for talking in class or anything. Well, in the chat. But I think that it gives me the time. I mean, it gives me the opportunity to manage my own schedule by myself, and I really like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine a school where Chris and I weren't getting in trouble for talking all the time. It's a
all
reality
I was
I
thinking
can't.
about is were those giant hall passes that you had to get if you wanted to go to the bathroom
Yeah.
during class. It would be like attached to a log you had to drag behind you or something.
I think we forget that. Like, think about your first day in college and you're like, wow, I don't have to ask permission to go to the bathroom in the middle of class.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal, you know? The
Yeah.
biggest thing she's saying is she gets to go to the bathroom whenever she
No,
wants.
I was surprised too. At first I typed privately in the chat. I was like, may I go to the bathroom? She said out loud, yes, you may go to the bathroom, but you can just turn off your camera next time and you don't have to ask. And I'm like, hey.
That's funny.
Life skills.
Yeah. Right. I imagine your teacher was just happy you asked. So again, like, I'm making assumptions, which is something that your mother taught us not to do. Mm-hmm. But I'm making the assumption that you, as a young person, is more hopeful and less cynical than your mother, Chris, and I. What gives you hope at this particular moment?
It is hard to have hope, but what gives me hope is knowing that we're always going to be protected and that everybody has our backs, like my family has my back. And that gives me hope, really, because when I'm down, even if they're down, they're going to tell me something to lift me up, because it wouldn't make sense if they told me something. Well, that's how life is. So
that's fair.
So what would you say is the biggest problem in the world right now? Going from happy to sad, why not?
The biggest problem to me to fit it into all one category would be all the isms. And by the isms, I mean racism, ableism, sexism, all the isms. There's too much isms. There's too much isms. I don't like that, because not one human, not anybody, it doesn't matter if you're human or not, nobody is worth more than somebody else. And I don't like that it's always like that, saying that someone's worth somebody else. No, your self-worth isn't determined on what you look like, what you're able to do, what your skin color is, what your background is. It's determined on everybody has the same self-worth.
She's on a roll.
I was like, it's not determined by anything. Everybody has the same self-worth. I was like, just thinking, I was like,
You know, even if I'd never met you before, after hearing you say that, I would know you were Marcia's daughter.
So I'm always interested in the things that you are either dragged to or decide to go to that your mom is putting on. And I'm wondering, like, what is, like, can you remember like one specific thing that you saw or learned from any of these, you know, conglomerate of leadership training things that has stuck with you?
I think that I don't know if it's actually called drag too, because like it's family, so I don't know if you could call it that. But
don't tell my family, but I would call it that.
But I've learned that when mom teaches a class, she's teaching, but at the same time, she's really not teaching. She's just giving that student a boost in life, basically, saying like helping them realize what their purpose is, helping them realize how to get through, helping them realize their rights so they can stand up to those people that were putting them down in the first place. So I believe she's teaching other people how to lead.
And then also just like an extra is that I think she's observed me at a very early age to always bring extra deodorant and extra shirts because what I call sweat is more like passion leaving the body when you're presenting at big events.
I have no idea what that's like, and it's certainly not happening right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a sweat rag sitting behind the camera in case I need it during this or anything.
Passion.
Yeah. That's right. My passion rag.
No, I think we should keep working shop.
Yep. We'll workshop that.
All right. Now, the most important question for you, Amelia. If you had to guess who you think is your mom's favorite, me or Chris, who would it be?
That's so silly.
Okay. First, not to be rude, what type of question is that?
I don't know who came up with that question.
Yeah.
It sounds very self-centered.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say that mom only does one impression. And it's I believe it's the only right impression that she does of people. And that is Jessie.
Yes.
Earlier today,
I have got to see this Jessie impression.
Yeah. First of all, I didn't know you did an impression of me. So now I'm very curious. But
we were practicing and she was like introducing me exactly how she would think. And you're like, and she was like, here is Marcia, you introduced her a certain way, and then he was like, and then she said exactly how you said it. There's her daughter and me, Empress of the World, soon to be Empress of the World.
We're all going to be working for her someday anyway.
Yeah.
Well, take that, Chris.
I will try not to cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, in your passion rag.
Everyone is my favorite. Everyone is my favorite. I did not realize you would call me out like that. This is live.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Magic of live internet things. I don't know.
All I know is that next year it's just going to be a live stream of people doing Jessie impressions. That's my goal now and next year.
That would be amazing. That make me so happy. I mean, it depends on what the impressions sound like, I guess. So, all right. Well, thank you both. Amelia, I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you enjoyed the thing you went to earlier. And Marcia, you are welcome to stay on for the next bit as well. But first, I have to drop you off, though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you both. All right.
Now it is officially
Yeah.
adult hour.
Oh, that's true. Of course, Amelia can still see us. So... She gave us a thumbs up. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm pouring my drink. All right.
I'm drinking out of my Giving Spirits glass.
Very nice. Well, let me not break this glass here. All right.
Some nice peaty scotch. Nothing says Pod4Sad like a nice biting smoky scotch.
That's true. That goes for many things. All right, for our next segment, we have so many people. I'm going to introduce them all at once, but then save. We have a surprise guest that I'm very excited to bring on. I'm going to save this person for last. So first, joining us now is Laura Bellis, Matt Gleason, Ariel Davis, and City Councilor Kara Joy McKee. 1, 2, buttons, clicking. Look at all of us.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
Look at all these people.
Oh, KJ's not in her chair.
KJ's not there.
KJ gets removed until she's back.
Oh.
Wait, what if she's just invisible?
Yeah.
She was there a second ago. She had headphones on. I was very excited.
Invisibility cloak.
That's right. She could have invisibility cloak. No, someone else dropped off. Anyway, so before we start getting into questions, I want to bring in our special guest who I asked to be on last night, and I assumed she would say no, but she said yes. I'd like to bring on the one and the only Davon Douglas. Hello!
Surprise!
Hi, guys. Jesse, I totally predicted that this was who it was going to be. I was like, it's Devon.
Listen, Chris and I both have a professional crush on her and her her energy, and
Yes.
I just I want to talk to her.
I have a professional and a personal crush on her, but I guess I feel like I can't get hashtag me too, so I understand why you had to keep it that way.
If there's no Me Too, baby. If there's all the consent, I give it all to you, Ariel Davis.
Yeah. And a certain city councilor is now back in her desk chair, so I can bring her back on. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Devon. I haven't seen you in so long.
I know.
It's
Bringing us all back together. Thank you, Jesse and Chris. Good to see all of you tonight.
Yes.
So, all right. So these panels are always chaotic. So we are going to try to ask questions and try to get an answer from everybody. But before we start, I want to give a special thank you to one person who is on this panel who is now actually a guest of Pod4Good, but is more just a friend of mine in the podcast world, and that is Matt Gleason from the Mental Health Association, the Mental Health Download. I just want to thank him, and also I'm amazed he's still alive because they've been putting out an episode every day for who knows how long, and I would be doing this a lot more often if I was Matt. So
I could use some of that PD scotch you guys were talking about earlier. Yeah, there you go.
Cheers to you, Matt.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope we are not the only people drinking this entire time, Chris, but we'll see. All right. So, sort of first question for the panel. What's something that's happened this year that made you happy or that gives you hope for the future? And I'm going to ask Laura Bells to go first because she's the first person in my little list here.
No, I'm not ready. That's happened this year that's made me happy. Oh my gosh. Could you define the bandwidth of what this year qualifies as? Because it contains multitudes. You need to give me an era or an epoch. Sorry, I'm not being helpful.
Yeah. I would say maybe since the pandemic started.
Oh, since the pandemic started. I think, to me, something that makes me incredibly hopeful is how civically engaged people have gotten, right? Like, people know their reps. They know how to contact people. They're not afraid to tweet and call and do all those things. So it's just been cool to see people ramp up with civic engagement. And what was the second question?
It was just
what gives you hope?
Yeah.
For the
So that
future?
was the hopeful part. That was it.
So
that gives me hope, and that was the happy thing. And everything else is me playing video games
both.
like I'm 12 again. So that was it.
Yeah. Remember the Australian wildfires? I don't. That was January.
So long ago.
That was a decade ago.
Impeachment. That was also a long time ago.
That was
true.
Happened.
Right there in the shirt.
That's right. You're wearing your impeachment shirt, which I love.
I haven't changed shirts in months. This is it.
So for all your Facebook posts, you just put on that shirt for the picture and then take it off and put the impeachment shirt back on? Right.
Yeah, or with Zoom filters, anything's possible now.
Oh yeah, right.
That's true.
Change the wardrobe with a click. Just
It's like The Sims. Right.
It is like The Sims.
That's right.
So, Ariel, what has made you happy and/or given you hope for the future?
I think since the pandemic started, I've probably had a lot more time to just be really introspective and figure out what makes me happy. So I've been trying to do more of those things. And what gives me hope, it's interesting because it sort of came out of a sad event. So when Greg Robinson lost the mayoral election this year, I was not happy, but when I went to his page, like in all of the comments on his Facebook, there were so many names that I did not recognize. And that really made me feel like there are a lot of good people here that I don't know. And so it gave me hope that, you know, we can move where we need to be as a city.
Yeah, there were a lot of profiles of like older white people whose friend requests I had to look at, and I was like, how did they find me? And it was like via the Greg Robinson page. I'm like, they're all right. So,
yeah. That's all you need. That's the only filter I need. I'm just like, I can let them in.
How about you, Matt?
Well, okay, so it's what made me happy, what gives me hope. I think without a doubt, what makes me happy is you, Jesse.
Thank you.
One, because you make me feel not alone in the podcasting world. We both clench our fists and say, why isn't our podcast more popular?
Yeah. Just checking those downloads every day.
But also, you've been a wonderful shepherd through this whole podcasting world. You've taught me so much, and I've enjoyed your podcast so much. And you have, God bless you, have helped raise awareness about mental illness. You've had Mike Bros, my dearest and wonderful friend who I admire so much, on your podcast. So I appreciate you guys doing everything to make the world a better place. So that, and if I'm going to, I'm with Mental Health Association Oklahoma. So I got to say, if anything's given me hope, it's that during the time of pandemic, people have been more open to talking about mental health and reaching out for help and not feeling that stigma that so often keeps people from reaching out. So, man, I hope after the pandemic, people can keep that going and improve it. And people like Karen Joy McKee have been so amazing in this cause. Thank you so much.
Hey, you betcha.
So, yeah.
So you win the award for most complimentary of me guest so far. So thank you.
I'm just trying to get the scotch after. We're going to have some of that scotch after.
Oh, I'm actually the one with the scotch, so you may want to be careful.
I'm drinking some Evan Williams bourbon. Anyway.
Not a sponsor.
That's right. Mrs. Douglas.
Yes. Things that have made me happy and like things that inspire me. Is this the question?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Okay. So, I think the thing that makes me happiest right now
Ariel Davis.
Such a dork. Let's go with that. No, honestly, the thing that makes me happiest right now is my dog. I can't get my screen. My dog makes me really happy. He's so much fun. He's so lovable. Ariel's gonna try to talk shit about him, but she's wrong. He's grown so much since then. We've had lots of growth. Okay, he's been to school, honey. And the things that inspire me, honestly, are the relationships that I have with women. In my lowest of lows and my highest of highs or whatever, and everything in between, the thing that's been consistent and constant and just, it's so woven into the fabric of my life, it is, women and non-binary folks. These are the people who are always there for me. People who like Ariel, who I can call. It may take 7 times to get in touch, but call her, and when she, and she responds to me. When I was just starting out in OK Policy, KJ was, that person for me. And Laura has been with me. I think I may have known you longer than, I think maybe KJ's known me a little bit longer, but Laura, we've been in it, in the mud for a minute. So all of these women on this call have been really important in my life, and getting to see the things that they're doing this year, it inspires me. I know that these women and non-binary folks are going to save the world, because we know what men have done up until this point. So
I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's
Chris and I apologize.
A tone.
So yeah, we're about to, not as a mule now, not as a mule, but come through and fix all of this. That's what inspires me today. And I'll ramble because I am not sober.
Yes.
There we go.
Why didn't anyone tell me we could be drunk for this?
If you ever, this is why I cannot figure out how to be in the right spot.
I'm gonna try this. If that's better.
But no, my brain
Brady
can't
Bunch.
figure out left and right. Wait.
Oh, I know. I get so confused. I'm like, oh, this side is messed up. Nope,
Well,
it's the
yeah.
wrong side.
Zoom
And I'm
naturally.
like tilted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Zoom fixes this for you, and apparently none of the live stream companies are like, oh, people like that. I should include that. So we all just look weird.
Good. Well, I'm okay with looking weird, but I just want people to know I don't look weird because this is how I normally look. I look weird because I'm not sober.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Jesse and I always look weird.
That's true. We are two weird-looking white dudes. So,
But you've got great voices.
Great voices, yeah.
And great hair, guys. Really.
Why can't I figure out how to be?
Nice jacket. Nice
There you
jackets too.
is your phone like an Android that has the camera like to the left, or is that right in the middle?
To the right.
Yeah. See, I don't think they did any testing on that as far as like the live streaming of yourself angle part of it.
Right,
Anyway,
because I'm like, I have to. Oh, that's pretty. Wait.
Oh,
That's
there you
good.
go.
That's
That's
good.
good. Right on.
Okay, I'll just be still.
Just freeze.
There you go.
Freeze. Don't move.
Freeze.
Don't
All right,
move.
if people can put in the comments when they see her in the middle of her frame.
Is she frozen?
All right,
No, I'm
everyone.
frozen.
New drinking game.
She's just not breathing. Just not.
Drink every time Devon is dead center.
Quit breathing. So I can be in the middle.
You deserve the most. You committed.
All right.
That's good.
Yeah. To our third time guest, the same question. Our city councilor, Kara Joy McKee.
Yeah. I'm glad that you all brought like a deep humanistic perspective, because I'm just like, today I want to put the blinders on and hide from people, but my loving spouse is like, get in there, be with these people that you love.
Yay!
You know what makes me happy, in addition to being here with y'all? I had a bumper crop of beans in my garden this year. The one crop that worked. Devon, you remember we got those heritage seeds from the Cherokee Nation? Gene, yes. Shiloh turned us onto that.
Yeah.
So we've got these Trail of Tears beans and the long greasy beans that women literally sewed into the skirts that they were wearing as they came on the trail to Oklahoma. And Cherokee Nation has harvested and planted these for years. And every year we get some, because my husband's a citizen of the Cherokee Nation. And this year I tried so much to garden, because I'm like, okay, I can't see people, but I can play in the dirt. I can get my hands in the dirt. I know it's good for my mental health. So we had a lot of beans. I mean, like, I've been picking beans every day. If I'm in a meeting and I turn off my camera, it's probably because I'm out in the garden picking beans. Like, literally put the hotspot on my phone picking beans. And in addition to just the connection with nature and making myself get some sunshine, I have taken that produce and shared it with my neighbors, trying to connect to the people who literally live next door to me and get to know them. And they're all like really happy about the beans, really, chowing down on these beans, talking to me, talking to the baby about it. And it connects well with something else that has been inspiring me. I am inspired by some of the deconstruction of our society that has happened this year. While I would never have wished for things to go down the way that they have, I feel like we're being pushed to do some things differently, like go outside, figure out how to go outside, figure out how to live outside this winter. I've been thinking about that a whole lot, and I'm inspired to try to find more ways to connect with people, even though I can't do it the way that I usually would. I can't run up and hug people. I can't be right on someone's face the way I usually would. So I am feeling inspired to be creative. And it does make me happy to be outside, and especially when I can share the abundance of what is out in nature with other people around me. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Those are all good answers. Mm-hmm. And
again,
no one.
What gives you hope, Jesse?
I would sort of piggyback off the earlier point that seeing how people have gotten civically engaged when they were stuck at home has really been amazing. It's almost like there was a whole large part of the American population who was like, if I only had a little more free time, I could totally get involved in politics because it's important to me, but not that important to me. And when they finally got stuck at home, they're finally like, oh, the world sucks. I should work on this. So I'm glad they're on board.
And we're like, welcome to the team.
Yeah. Welcome, I guess. As someone who's been politically engaged since they were 8, I'm like, I guess better late than never.
I mean, I think
that's the
people
most cynical,
discovered
hopeful thing I've ever said. Anyway.
No, I was going to say, I think people discovered how actually similar to Parks and Recreation our city council meetings are. No offense to you. But like, once you realize how real that is.
Of Tulsa, so I don't mind at all. It is bizarre sometimes. Thank you for being there to witness. Yeah. It helps me that I know that you're there to witness when things get real weird.
Like the guy who has to bless everything that happens. It doesn't matter what is on the docket.
Oh,
every
John,
item
yeah,
that
he's a
comes
sweetheart.
up, he's got to come up and bless it.
Every time.
It feels like Parks and Rec.
No, I make a bingo card of stuff I think is going to happen. It's down to things like what city councilor is going to wear their Ronald Reagan socks, who's going to roll their eyes, who has to pee conveniently during this conversation. Like, you know what they're going to do. It's amazing.
I watched that mask city council meeting, and I'm still angry about it to this day. I made a couple good points in the comments fighting a troll that I shouldn't have engaged with in the first place, but I do not understand how you sit through those meetings with a straight face, KJ. I really don't.
You know, part of it is exhaustion. Exhaustion really helps because I'm out of facial expressions by 5 p.m. because sometimes those meetings on Wednesday start at 8 a.m. and then they jump it's like we've got 15 minutes. Do you want to pump the breast milk, eat the lunch, go to the bathroom? You can't do all 3 of these things. Which one are you going to pick? And so, yeah, by 5 p.m., I'm so tired. I'm just like, what?
It's like, the tired, detached from reality face. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm actually trying to fix that. I'm trying to move one of our committee meetings to a different day, to Tuesday, so that constituents actually have time to hear what we said in committee before we're voting on it. I don't know. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, of the 6 people who are currently visible, even though Ariel is still there via audio, I want to talk to Laura Bells for a second because you have a full-time job, and which is the head of the Take Control initiative, which, because it's a nonprofit, is probably 1.5 jobs anyway. But you've also been running this Save Our State Facebook group that has been incredible to watch, and you're constantly doing Facebook Lives and putting out data. And how, like, at this point, you've been doing this for, I don't know, 6 months now. Like, at this point, like, has it sort of has a schedule sort of come about finally? Like, have you finally sort of figured out how to interact with the people in the group? Like, just tell us about how the group's doing.
Yeah, well, just so you know, it takes about 8 to 12 people to run. Some of which most of us have never met in person. We met digitally. We're across the state. And yeah, it's down to a schedule because you're right. I do have a full-time job that I swear I do. If anyone who funds my nonprofit is ever watching this, that work totally happens. Actually, what's really exciting is contraceptive access in Tulsa, the clinics we work with, is back to pre-pandemic levels as of this past quarter, which is really exciting because that's not the case across the country. But okay, with Save Our State, yeah, I get most of my info from OSU, puts on these echo COVID calls for medical professionals once a week. I hop on those. I get a solid amount of data from Dr. Jennifer Clark, who is my COVID pandemic goddess. Dr. Clark breaks everything down and is super just transparent and authentic and fairly objective. So she's just here's the facts. It's not a good situation. And then once a week, I then take that, crunch it down further, and make a video breakdown for people. And then otherwise it's waking up, checking what's going on with the latest COVID news, etc. And then all of us moderators, we just check in and out with each other throughout the day to see, okay, how do we want to moderate this? Do we want to let the focus drift from COVID policy to some of these other intersectional spaces. We do a lot of unemployment support health, actually, since that's like the second biggest thing people are, right? Like there's pandemic and navigating testing and healthcare and all of those things. But then the other big piece is just people dealing with figuring out unemployment and navigating benefits and paying rent. And so we do a lot of that support while trying to ensure that the group is in itself very, across the political spectrum, but we want to keep it productive. And so trying to constantly steer people towards what can we do here on a local level? What can we focus on? And just equipping people with those tools and resources. So, I mean, there's a certain schedule to it. We're always modifying kind of like the guidelines to help keep people on track and focused and getting supports that they need at the same time. It's become a more fine-tuned and refined science over time. But also what's real quick and an exciting thing that I'll make a quick plug for, and then I will stop this monologue, is next week, Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., we're going to have a live within Save Our State with a whole Q&A on COVID policy with Abby Broyles. And then Thursday at 6:30 p.m., we're going to do the same thing with Kendra Horn, which we've of course reached out to the other people running in those elections. They just haven't gotten back to us yet.
That's weird.
If you're watching this, why won't you answer us? Yeah.
They're too busy enjoying those weird mailers that are being sent out by Oklahoma MAGA.
Those mailers make me want to vote for the people they're railing against much more than I went into the situation. Yeah. Like I get more enthusiastic.
Right. You're just annoying me now, and that makes me angry. So
yeah. I know that helped in my race. I'm really hoping that it helps in all of the other races, that people are like, okay, you are not only a liar, but you're bad at Photoshop, and I'm not going to vote for you.
I didn't get that mailer, and I'm still mad that I did not get the anti-KJ mailer. I wanted to see it.
I might have an extra copy.
Yeah.
I actually got, so there were 3 people in your race, right, KJ?
Mm-hmm. Or 4 of us in total, including myself, but yeah, 3 opponents. Mm-hmm.
I got a mailer here in my Houston address for Catherine Lyons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got one addressed like my actual address here. So I don't know why that happened, but that's who was supporting my Houston vote. So,
right. Apparently.
Yeah, you are an influencer. Maybe they're like, we can get the people the Douglas vote.
The Douglas vote.
Were you just like not with that font, Catherine? Sorry.
I like that. Political science students one day will discuss the Douglas vote. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yes.
I'm manifesting that. I'm just gonna speak it.
I'm assuming I'm on some sort of list that the Oklahoma Republican Committee Council, whatever they're called, has of like liberal Jews not to mail things to. So,
wait, how do I get on that list? Because they still send me stuff.
We just if we just call ourselves liberal Jews enough on say live streams, they'll get it eventually.
It'll eventually click.
Yeah. When they decide to hate watch this for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So,
all right, well, speaking of Oklahoma MAGA, I want to take the phrase back. So, what do we need to do to actually make America great?
Before anyone answers, I'm going to bring on another guest who has joined us.
Oh.
He allows people to call himself Q, but I can pronounce his name, Koresh Ali Lansana.
How long did you have to practice that, Jesse?
I practiced it at least twice in my head first. So, Q, how you doing?
What's up, fam? What's up, fam? What's
right.
good? Good to see all these faces.
So the question for the panel is how do we take back Trump's election phrase? How do we make America great? So I will ask Q since he's new.
Oh, you just put me on the spot, homie. I just sat down.
Q, you think on that. I'm going to put another white person on the spot. Matt.
Thanks, Jesse. I work for a nonprofit, so this is my every day. I am concerned about the most marginalized of our society and people experiencing homelessness, people who have mental illness, people who have substance use problems, who are vilified because they have an addiction when it's a disease. And so I think if we can, I think this word's been thrown out too much during the pandemic, but compassion, If I took a meditation class with Sister Ellie here in town, who offers a meditation class, and at the beginning of the class, it was an 8-part class. She said, "Okay, if you stay with me at the end of this class, I'm going to tell you the secret of life." And we got through all 8 hours of the class, all 8 days, and at the end, she says, "Okay, I'm going to stick to my word. I'm going to share the secret of life." And she says, "Compassion." So it seems like it's a cliched word, but goodness, at this time in our nation and on our globe, if we can just show the compassion that you all show, if we can take that on a global scale, world peace, that sounds pretty good.
That's a good answer for being put on the spot. So,
yeah. I feel like we need to hear from Devon next.
Yeah. Or
because she over there making
from
faces.
City Council. Yeah, you're way out of frame now. Our Facebook commenters are not keeping us on.
I can like.
Yeah,
I can do the same thing. We can all just sort of like slide in and out of frame too.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do a spin.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There we go.
Look at you with your wireless headphones. You can spin in your chair.
Get out of frame. Well, can I just I'll hop in real quick if Devon's taking a second to come back in frame, and I'll just say, one, I think the phrase that we're answering the "Make America Great Again" phrase, by the end of whatever this era has to go the way of saying Sieg Heil, we just shouldn't do it. It's the ally here is a Nazi salute. But to me, it's just when I think about voting and ensuring people are in power who are trying to make policies that make people's lives better. To me, that's what that is. That's to me what the battle is too. And we're looking at, okay, who's for what or who's against what when we look at the delineation between two political parties or just general policymakers, decision makers, people holding positions of power. It's, are they willing to acquiesce a certain amount of power to benefit others and allow other people to have those seats? And then also, are the people making decisions trying to make policies that actually work to make people's lives better and give them basics like healthcare and food without punishing them for not being able to have money to do it themselves because we just torture people for needing help. I don't know. That's just my I don't hot take. I would just say real quick as my here's what I would do. I'll go back out of frame or do a spin now.
Yeah, that was very much like my hot take recently, which was that. Listen, the spin is great. I find this really fun. Yeah. All right, Q, are you ready to answer the question now?
Well, yeah. Although I'm fascinated by Laura's spin and Devon's aura in this moment.
Listen, we all are.
It's amazing.
It's Devon's world. We're all just living in it.
Yeah.
It's like that, fam. It's like that sometimes. I got you. So the question is about the phrase "Make America Great Again," right?
Well, actually,
or make it great. I say just make it great.
Yeah.
Because
so maybe just MAG, not MAGA, but MAG.
Yeah, right? Because
depending
on who you are, America may not have ever been great for you.
There have to be better adjectives.
I can't say
great.
that. I don't know what we could come up with.
Make America better. How about that?
Yeah.
Make America better.
I can't say that. Make America better. Make America less fucked up.
There we go. I'll take that at this point. I'll take that.
MAF. All right. I don't know if that's
you can add. I don't know if that'll fit on the hat though. It might be too much.
Listen, you can fit a lot on hats in the back of football jerseys now. So.
If it's like a fedora and it goes all the way around, we could fit it.
Fedoras. Make fedoras great again.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, we do some calligraphy script. Yeah.
Listen, I'm proud of us. It took 50 minutes for this to go off the rails. 50 minutes. That is a record. And
I guess we shouldn't tell Laura about our new podcast idea, Fedoras for Good.
Yeah, nope. Save that for later.
That's something we should leave in 2020.
Fedoras are the things.
And that
I agree with Laura on that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
I don't know. I think that what can make this country better is respect. I believe, right, that fear equals ignorance. Ignorance equals lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge equals lack of respect. Lack of respect equals hate. And what we are in the midst of right now is that entire equation, right? That in this very polarized world and country, that we don't want to listen to one another. And if we don't like what you have to say, then we don't like you. Therefore, we don't respect what you're about or who you are. So we're gonna hatch a plot to kidnap you from the Capitol, take you into the woods, put you on trial, and then execute you, right? You know about that Gretchen Whitmer stuff,
yeah,
right? About what happened to Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah, I mean, and those folks aren't deemed terrorists, right? So
yeah. And what if they were smart? What if they were smart? They were dumb. Like, what if smart people tried to kidnap a governor?
I mean,
hey, if it's part of it, a militia.
Take, but there aren't a lot of smart people in these militias, but
that's fair. Not to stereotype. Not hashtag. Not all militias. No. All right.
I just don't want them to come for us. Sure.
You know, from my seat, it's so scary. It's bad, kind of funny. And I mean, I have more security on my house than I ever thought I would have to get.
Oh yeah, there are some people on this panel, and it's not Chris and I, who have gotten like threats from the work they do. Like I mean, maybe occasionally I will get a weird email in our email box about how liberal I am, or occasionally again to a former mayoral candidate yelling at me on Twitter, not Twitter, on Reddit. But Chris and I don't get death threats. We don't get that sort of level of hate. So I apologize for joking about it with that.
No, actually,
hashtag, but
the joking helps.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Right. Chris and I are of the same philosophy. Like humor is how we deal, and you know, I just want this election to be over with, so we can then see what happens and then go from there. I am both hopeful and incredibly not hopeful, because 2016 has really ruined elections for everybody. So I can't trust my statisticians anymore. I can't trust them, and that makes me sad.
Wish I could trust Nate Silver again.
I know, man. Nate Silver's been really quiet for 4 years. Like, I want him to get another 100% and just to come roaring back and be like, "I'm back, guys." So, but it won't be the same. and to the New York Times, if you are watching, which they are not, do not do the weird. Hold on, let me get the camera. That weird indicator thing of who's winning. That drove me. That almost killed me in 2016.
Yeah, that was stressful. Agreed.
Yeah, don't do that again.
You know what else almost killed me? The amount of drinking I did after the election.
Yeah, it's still hurting me. So okay, here's a more like local question, since we are a podcast about local issues.
Is it time for Pod4Sad, Jesse?
Yes, it's time for Pod4Sad.
Oh.
And hold on, first this comment, because this is a great one.
Nice.
I agree. God, he was so spot on, and then not on. It just okay. No, I'm not going to go on this tangent. I'm going to rein myself in. Okay, Pod4Sad time, and I really wish I had a drop for this, but I don't. Chris, do you want to ask this question since it's yours?
Sure. Okay, so this is something that has been weighing on me, and I'm just a white person, so I can't imagine how it's affecting a large population of Tulsa. So to me, it's how do we rationalize as a city that we're putting so many resources into finding the mass graves of the victims of the race massacre, at the same time that we're also putting a bunch of resources to erase Black Lives Matter from every street and every sidewalk that it ends up on. So like I said, this is the Pod4Sad question, so I wanted to throw that out there.
Can I add one component to that?
Yeah.
Sure.
At the same time that we're doing that and actively using tax dollars to not settle the Crutcher case and not pay reparations, or again, also pay reparations or have true justice for Joshua Barre, Joshua Barre, Eric Harris, Joshua Harvey. There's all. I'm just saying, we're doing, per your point, we're just doing these simultaneous things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it has to be an either or either. It's where do we put resources?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it is it a spectrum of racism sort of thing, where if someone's only kind of racist, they're okay putting funds into finding the mass graves, but also willing to take down Black Lives Matter because someone on Facebook told them they're a Marxist organization, which, by the way, Facebook, I'm looking at the camera. If you say Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization, I'm coming for you in that comment because you're dumb. All right. Sorry.
I think you're right. I think there was a 50 Shades of Racism in Tulsa. You know, I think it was a hot, steamy, you know, bad novel turned into a really bad movie series too, called 50 Shades of Racism here. And I agree that what, you know, I think we all can probably safely agree that there will be more bodies exhumed from the digs and there will be no reparations paid, right? So, but what does Bynum do now that what most of us have already known or suspected, who's, you know, been studying this stuff for a while or paid attention for a while, knew that there were mass graves at Oak Lawn, but now that they've been found and more will come up, watch what your mayor does and how he responds to what DeMario's doing with the lawsuit and the descendants. This is going to be a very interesting shuck and jive. Not too far removed, in my opinion, from the shuck and jive that destroyed Greenwood in the first place. It's going to be very interesting to watch. And I think it's not by accident that after Bynum won the re-election that he decided that he was going to be a Republican again somehow, like even more Republican than, you know, he was prior to. And to see how all this plays out over the next year is going to be a really fascinating and probably disturbing thing.
Yeah, I mean, if people have been following our podcast, Chris and I have accidentally just like brought on a series of critics of our current mayor. So our chances of getting the mayor on the podcast are 0 and will be 0. So feel free to say anything. His communications office is not answering my emails.
I think maybe that is an answer.
Yeah.
And Q, didn't you just have either have a book about to come out or it just came out?
I have a children's book about Greenwood coming out in February, but we did the reveal of the cover reveal today. Yeah, it's called Opal's Greenwood Oasis. And it's about an 8-year-old girl growing up in Greenwood the weekend, essentially the day before the massacre, but really celebrating the excellence, you know, the Black excellence of Greenwood and life there before it was destroyed. Literally the day before it was destroyed.
I'm very curious about how.
So
many
get you a copy.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone buy a copy and donate to the Tulsa Voter Van. I'm very I feel like the amount of times the massacre is shown in a visual medium has been incredibly helpful to both its awareness and people's conversations about it. And we've already gotten 2, as far as I know. We had right. Watchmen and we've had Lovecraft Country. I'm wondering how many more of those we're going to get and what effect that's going to have, because they are hard to watch.
There's more coming. Yeah. We know there's more coming. Have you seen the Lovecraft Country one yet? I haven't seen it yet because I'm only like 3 episodes in, but that show is really good. I expect it will be an excellent episode.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like I got to say something to all of this, right? I'm all up in it. The week before the mural on Greenwood was removed with the mill and overlay, I was on a call with several individuals, including the mayor and Councillor Lakin. And one of the things that Councillor Lakin pointed out, which is absolutely my experience as well, was that the vast majority of the people who were calling on us to allow the mayor to just endorse that he go ahead and let the street work happen and we don't find a way to keep it there. The vast majority of those people were saying this wasn't a proper process. We would be okay with it otherwise. Now, some of those people I think were absolutely lying. And I know I don't see them anywhere else calling on anything else they want to call graffiti and like making the city like, hey, do this right now. You need to clean this up right now. Like there's some hypocrisy happening there and some misunderstanding of their own motives. But I think even more than that, and this is what I said to Counselor Lakin, that those procedures and systems have been where racism and various biases hide for a long time. And that anyone who doesn't feel that they are being biased and saying, you need to get rid of this right now, even though we were the first of the major cities to remove this, first and only to my knowledge at this point. Those people live very segregated lives. And I said that, and you know, they didn't have anything, he didn't have a response. And I expect, and I get along well with my colleagues, but I expect that hit home because I think so many of his constituents are living these extremely segregated lives and they have no idea what it feels like. It doesn't even feel significant to them. And some of them, it does seem like, I mean, again, from the messages I'm getting, I have a lot of people who really feel that we should be looking for the mass graves, but who hated that there was a mural there because they don't feel the significance of it in the same way. And I feel the significance of it, and I'm not the only one on council who does, but for them, that it was just too far outside their lived experience with the people in their lives and with their lived experience with what is proper to do. And some of that is whiteness, and some of that is southernness, and some of that is Tulsa. There's a lot packed into that.
I mean, what's most fascinating in sort of teaching about the race massacre, teaching about the Holocaust, is there is a large group of people who don't understand there's a difference between something that's morally right and something that is legally right, and how they are not always the same thing. And so in certain cases, laws don't mean shit, right? Yeah. I don't care that the people who painted it didn't follow the proper procedures. Those procedures used to be racist, so that doesn't make them right.
Used to be?
It might still be racist.
To me, it's a fascinating dichotomy, and I feel like this has come up on a couple of our podcasts. But Tulsa wants to be a quote-unquote world-class city, and you can't be a world-class city when you are leaving large portions of the population behind. You just can't. You'll never be that. And to me, it's incredibly frustrating because I see amazing things happening in Tulsa. And frankly, it breaks my heart that it at the same time is doing horrible things to groups of people in this city.
Pod4Good. I would like to thank the 14 people who have stayed on even when the presidential debate is going on, even though I have no desire or definitely will not watch it. I'll just read the highlights tomorrow. But, I mean, Chris and I should stop talking. We are the hosts. Our job is to ask questions, but we've had drinks now, so
we should join you. I want to piggyback on something.
Yes.
And that is this, that I was a part of the original team of folks who actually went to the city to get a permit to paint it on, and we were planning to paint it on right outside of the BOK was our original plan, which may have been part of why it got shut down. But Counselor, you may know more about this, but I guess what we were told initially was that first we were told that our contract for the permit or whatever, the paperwork wasn't correct. Then we were told that there wasn't a check connected to it. And it was just all, it was all just to move us away from doing it actually the proper way. And then we know what happened with Brianna and folks and others who did it without the permit. But we were shut down by somebody at city government about, no, we're just essentially not going to let you do this. So, I guess I'm saying that we tried to go the right way.
That makes me think of, I just watched the new Aaron Sorkin movie on Netflix, Trial of the Chicago 7, where they're like, hey, we tried to get a permit for this park. People are going to come and gather anyway. We can do this like legally, or people are going to show up. This has to be expressed somehow. And like, that's such a good point to raise, where like, hey, when you deny someone a legal avenue to express something this critical, it's going to come out somewhere.
Yeah, well, and this really highlighted for me the challenge that many of my predecessors in council have had in trying to get even far less controversial things painted on the pavement. That has been a sticking point, to the point where, you know, we have had members of the city legal team literally say that it's against the federal laws, but it is not against the laws. It's against the guidelines. And the guidelines, as we are seeing even in Enid this week, in Kansas City, in like every city in North Carolina, from the research I'm doing, like there's so many cities that have said, I see that that's your guideline. New research has come out and shows that this actually is traffic calming. It makes things safer. It's not making it more dangerous. And we're going to allow this, and we're going to have a street art program. We didn't have anything like that in place. We were also told that nothing like this has ever happened because we don't have that in place. Now, if you were, and I know the council meetings can be boring, but if you watched the council before last, Councillor Patrick discovered right before the meeting and was calling all of us saying, wait a minute, TU has been painting on their streets for years, and the council's always approved that. And when we asked legal, we were told this has never happened. And I mean, I asked David Amelia in the meeting, like, why were we told this? And he said, well, I know nothing about it. So there's this other issue going on here where we as the counselors are being lied to. And I can't explain all of why that is the way it is, but I know that when I first learned about the effort to get a permit, it was the night before council meetings, and I did not see that there was any way that I could rush through something. I have regret now, wishing that I had realized what was happening, what was going to happen. And maybe there's a way I could have got on the horn and got something done that night that I didn't do. I mean, in that horrible week when the president decided he was just going to come drop a bomb on us, basically, and show up and push us around and shove his way into Greenwood, which bless the people who decided to cover up our monuments and not let him down there. You know, it was a rough week, and I don't feel like I did not feel then like I could have done something. In hindsight, I'm sure I could have pulled out all the stops and done something. Would it have ended up the same way? I'm not sure that it wouldn't have ended up the same way, because we've seen how much opposition there has been, how much effort to just be oblivious to what this means and how it feels in removing it. I will say, and I almost used this as the thing that makes me happy earlier, that I have been really encouraged by all the clergy who have come out just so solid, saying we are going to paint this on our streets. We're going to put this in our parking lots. I know that there are more on the way. And that's, you know, that's something I was saying to Brianna the other day. Greenwood, by its very existence, says Black Lives Matter every day. But the rest of Tulsa really needs to say it in another way. And I encouraged her to call every congregation all over town and say, would you like to step to this? Because we really need it loud and proud from the whole city. Yeah, and not to say that we're not working on it at the city level. I'm not abdicating that responsibility at all.
We should paint it along Highway 169 is what we should do. But I want to ask...
well, I wanted to throw one thing out, because I realized I never said what gives me hope. And back to talking about the Trump rally, one thing that gave me hope was how few people actually showed up, and the fact that a bunch of Gen Zers were able to use the power of the internet to, you know, I'll say it, ruin that rally. So that was something that gave me hope for the future, that there's a bunch of little activists out there on the internet to keep things going when all of us are too old and cynical to care anymore.
Like little activists and fans of South Korean music.
That's right.
So, listen, bless them. Bless them. They are incredible.
Right.
So they understand TikTok, which I do not.
No.
And Miss Douglas, we have not heard from you in a while.
Yeah.
Do you have anything
what's
to say?
up?
Hey, how's it going?
Life is good. Life is good. I just love listening to.
I mean, yeah, I do not understand. Like, the people can hide behind protocols and laws when they need to, and then dismiss them when it is handy for them, and that is a problem that I feel like.
Are you saying they're
tells
just following orders?
Hey, I can make those jokes. Anyway, all right.
Oh no, Devon is frozen.
Oh no.
That's not just not breathing.
I will say though, when city legal was referenced, which I will say I think is one of the biggest barriers to progress within our city, Devon's face was giving me life because I know she felt that.
So KJ, did the law pass that the city lawyer now has to be approved by the city council? Did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, it did. Because I remember we got confused about that the last time you all entered.
We did. Listen,
I had to pause and make sure I answered correctly. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah. Inside baseball, we had to re-record that answer because we learned things.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that was an incredibly confusingly written question where I was like, I don't understand what they're asking me to vote yay or nay for.
Yeah, and that's always, whether it's city or state questions, they're always written in that way. And people are really, really angry right now about the state questions, some of what we're dealing with here in 13 days. And and some of that is because they're just super confused by what is on this ballot.
I just do whatever your husband tells me to do. So
yeah, it's not a bad plan when it comes
he's done the research. I trust him.
It's true.
It's a nerd trusting another nerd. I'm like, he's done the work. Mm-hmm. So
for the tens of people listening, the state question doesn't define what a violent crime is. Just not so you know, it's not something that's going to suddenly make a bunch of violent crimes not violent. I'm just throwing that out there. You don't have to be afraid of it.
Yes.
Can I give a shameless plug here, Jesse? So on the Mental Health Download podcast today, we interviewed Sarah Edwards, who is the president of the Yes on 805 campaign, and she walked us through all of those misconceptions that people have about that. And so I would definitely highly recommend everybody check that out.
Intentional misinformation.
Thanks, Jesse.
Misconceptions, but
yeah, some people are spending a lot of money on that.
Mm-hmm. Some people who have too much power want to hang on to their power.
Mm-hmm. Weird. That's never happened before. So, I'm always amazed when people stay on these live streams when, we've been going for an hour and 13 minutes. And I imagine all 10 of those people know me personally. So thank you, those 10 people.
Some of them may know me.
Yeah,
Wait, we probably all know the same people.
Yeah,
it's just your relatives.
Yeah. To my dad, hello, who's watching on YouTube. The one person watching on YouTube.
Yay!
Yeah.
So, and I assume Mike Pence is watching too.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike Pence.
I'm just hoping the fly from Mike Pence's head is watching.
That's true.
Right now.
Listen, again, every vice presidential debate always gives us something good. And I was happy it was the fly. So, something comes out that causes a new Twitter feed to be born. And I'm happy it was the fly versus Binders Full of Women from 2008. Which, Binders Full of Women, still tweeting. So, well done, whoever's doing that. So, all right. I think we should start wrapping up because people want to go yell at the TV. Or in my case, have a wine bottle fall on their head because they're jumping up and down too much in anger. So thank you, Sarah Palin, for that one.
Wow. Remember Sarah Palin?
I know, right? Remember when she was the worst thing?
Just paving the way for the other ones.
Right? Yeah, I miss those times.
Just the bar keeps dropping. Let's raise the bar. Raise the...
Yeah. But
just wait for Donald Jr. in 2024.
Oh, Lord. All right, so let's try to not end on a pod for sad note. If possible. We've already asked the hopeful question. So let me ask you this. When President Trump loses, how are you going to celebrate? We'll start with Laura.
Why do you keep starting with me? No, I reject.
You
All
reject.
right, Q. We'll start with Q.
Yeah.
Q's got a big smile on his face.
Well, I will tell you this: that on election night, at the Admiral Twin from 7 to 10, I'm producing a Tri-City Collective along with Atomic Culture, ESP TV from New York. We're producing an event called State of the Artist. And so we're going to have a cipher of comedians, rappers, journalists, live music, live performance at the Admiral Twin. And then we're going to have live streaming from folks from different cities across the country that we'll be able to put up on the big screen with what's happening in their different cities on election night. And it's free if you want to come out and sit in your car and watch this thing happen from 7 to 10 on election night and bring some snacks and join us as we watch the country go whatever happens, because I'm concerned about whatever's going to happen that night more so than I am about the night after, right? More than I am about the 4th. I'm worried about the 3rd. But to your question, what was your question?
Our question was, how are you going to celebrate?
I don't know that I'm going to celebrate. I know that, as I mentioned, I'm going to be working that event that night, help making that happen. But I don't, I just don't know that we're going to know who really won this election for weeks to months after this election. And then there's going to be, fighting about whose ballots get counted and so on and so forth. And so I don't know that I'm going to celebrate. I'll tell you that I will be drinking, but I don't know that I'll be celebrating. So that's
win or lose, we still booze.
Yeah, that's right.
There it is. Like, there you go.
A good OU fan, we drink either way. So
word this year for sure.
Yeah. Yikes. At least we won the Texas game. Anyway.
Yeah, I remember so clearly the night that I went to sleep after casting my first ballot for president. I went to sleep confident that Al Gore was our next president at like 2 a.m. My boyfriend's waking me up saying, hanging chads. Oh my gosh, blah blah. And I'm like, what's a hanging chad?
We all learned, didn't we?
We all learned. So I'm right there with Q in that I don't know that I will celebrate, though. That now that you have seeded that idea, I'm going to think on it a little bit. My daughter is 20 months old, and this is a really significant historical time that she's living through. And I do want to find ways to commemorate things that I can tell her about. When this happened, this is where we were. This is how we were handling it. I mean, she's always going to know Mama was ready to jump right back in the fray and try to work on the stuff that there are so many issues that I feel like are getting sidelined because of the elections. That's always the case, but more so this year. So definitely some of what I'm going to do is be ready to, okay, let's get back to work. Let's get these things done. Let's, take all that energy back and put it where it can actually, make a difference in people's lives in the ways that Laura and others were mentioning earlier. So that's definitely part of it for me. But yeah, that hanging, not knowing when we're going to know. And so we're not supposed to pod for sad here, but I am concerned about what people will do with either outcome. So I'm going to enjoy nature some. I think I'm going to be camping. Come on, just go out of the city for a minute. I'll be back. Don't worry.
I'm going to celebrate the way Boston celebrates both victories and defeats, which is I'm going to toss some cars over and light them on fire. So
there you go.
Win or lose, those Hummers get flipped over.
You should dress your daughter as a hanging chad and then take pictures, and that way she's really confused when she's old enough to know what's going on.
I just like how Jesse's plan is exactly what I'm from Philly. That's what Philly sports fans do when we win.
I love Philly sports fans. Fine.
Are you supposed to throw batteries at Santa Claus or something?
Listen, they buttered the light poles so they couldn't climb them, and Philly figured it out.
We still climbed. Yeah.
Philly forever. All right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have been wavering between that cautious optimism and the same feeling of there could be continued uncertainty. And one of my biggest thoughts has been what really changes, like, you know, the next day or in the weeks after. Like, what I think it's just more of that like cautious optimism that, you know, if and when Biden wins, that we'll just like start to see better policies enacted, like kind of what I was referring to earlier, that make people's lives better. But the other thing, and now I know as far as the celebratory thing is, I'll be participating in the Tri-City Collective event. Sounds awesome. And November 3rd is also my wedding anniversary, because 2 years ago, my husband and I thought a midterm theme election was like a really stellar, like fun, get out the vote activity. And we didn't really think through the part where that would be election day 2020. So I'll be considering if we need to like just celebrate on a different day for that.
Yeah, you might well. I feel like if you collectively decide to move the date, I feel like that's acceptable. So
we might need to, yeah.
Yeah, to November 5th, or, you know. Matt, who has been just very kind to stay on this thing this entire time while maybe saying 2 minutes worth of things. 1 minute of that complimenting me.
A minute too long, if you ask me.
Shut it, Chris. Yeah, I'm going to mute Chris. Matt, why don't you talk more about how amazing I am? No.
Well, you know, I'm gonna after this is over, I'm gonna go and practice my Jesse impression, because that was kind of a gauntlet that was thrown down. So
yeah.
Bring it. So, like, try to imagine someone who was raised by Bernie Sanders, but in Oklahoma. So figure that speech cans out. And by the way, to that, I would like to post this comment from my dad, who says hi. So, so thank you, Dad. I love you very much. So
you know, my mom.
He sounds like Larry David doing an impression.
That's true.
Of Bernie Sanders.
It's true. Listen, they all went to the same high school, so.
P.S. something or other.
So wait, I feel like we all answered that question, right? Did I miss anybody?
Well, I was gonna say that 4 years ago, I remember my wife got angry drunk on champagne. So my goal is to get her happy drunk on champagne instead. So we'll see how that goes.
Listen, my experience with champagne is there is no happy drunk on champagne, but that's just me. I'm not a fan of the bubbly, so, or maybe just not cheap bubbly. I don't know. I'm never willing to test that theory out. Well, I would like to thank all of our guests who have put up with this wonderful chaos that we had on our Pod4Good 1 year anniversary celebration. So I want to thank Laura Bellis. I want to thank our city councilor KJ. I want to thank Matt. I want to thank Q. I want to thank Ariel Davis, who accidentally got cut off and asked if she needed to come back on. I said it's okay. To Devon Douglas, thank you all, and to our viewers/listeners. As I say at the end of every episode, get it done, and for God's sakes, wear a mask. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.
Congrats on the anniversary.
Thank you. Also comment from my dad, Bernie Sanders light.
I love you, Dad.
I love him too. I'm glad he watched. Thank you all. Let's go yell at the TV.
Okay. Later, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Boom. Boom.